In just 5 hours, we have to leave for off-road training in Romania. Can we prepare the GS on time? Well, let's find out. It's 7:30 in the morning and we have 10 accessories to mount on the GS to make it safer and more comfortable for off-road riding. If you look at the bike, it's very capable even now. So the focus in the next couple of days would be on increasing my riding skills. However, there are some best practices that I gathered from other off-road riders. And before we leave later today, I want to install those items on the bike. So I'll better be fast on this one. But if you ask my wife, I'm already an expert in finishing fast, so it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, I'm back at the shop and it's already 8:30. So my plan is to go front to back, and as I install the items, I'll share with you why I have selected that specific accessory and how I think it would help me in the long run doing off-roading. One of the must-have accessories for me for the GS is some sort of headlight protection. I have selected Lone Rider for this one, and it's already pre-installed. I did it a couple months back, so I wouldn't waste any time today in doing that. At the front, the GS has two big radiators, and they're quite exposed as well. So the first items that I'll be installing today are those two radiator grills. They come from BMW, they're plastic version. I think there are some metal ones being sold out there. Quite easy to install and definitely protecting you from being stranded because some coolant is leaking away. In order to get easy access, I will first remove this side cover, and for that there are 3 Torx 25s to remove. Now that we have removed the side panel, there are another 3 Torx 25, one here, one there, and this one in the center. So now with all the bolts removed, we have access to plug in the radiator guard. There are 2 leading guides that you can plug in so that it stands still in place. Okay, so coming up next, we have those additional head protection guards. They are to be mounted right on top of the roll bars. Those specifically are a little bit cheaper version. I may want to replace those in the near future because a couple people online said that they're being bent over quite easily. So not sure that I would recommend those specifically, but definitely an additional head protection is needed for rocks in case of falling here. Okay, so for this side of the bike, I want to change one thing, and I want to add up another thing for the brake pedal. So when riding off-road, I noticed that I'm not feeling very comfortable on those foot pegs, so I'll be replacing those. There are different options, quite a lot of options out there, but I have selected the BMW Enduro footrest. So these are, I believe, stock option or default option for the GS Adventure, and then definitely an option for the GS as well. So I'll be replacing them. I think they'll give me enough stability when I'm riding off-road. And then on the second one, I have tried riding just briefly, right? And something that I noticed when I'm riding and standing up, I don't necessarily have enough leverage to push the brake pedal. So I need something to increase the brake pedal here. Yes, you can regulate it from from this side and then push it up, but then it wouldn't necessarily be comfortable when you ride normally on the road. So what I have selected is this addition from AltRider. I think it's a very good solution because you have both. You know, for normal road usage you can use that part, this, you know, the regular plate and larger plate, and then for off-road usage you have this additional adapter that I have already installed. So basically you have two-in-one solution. Not to mention that, you know, you have quite a lot of grip with those additional, you know, bolts or whatever you want to call them. Good, so two things done here. We have the Enduro Footpegs from BMW, definitely wider, more grip than the stock ones. And we also have the AltRider add-on for the brake pedal. It comes with a base plate, and then on top of that you have an additional adapter. So you now have the two levels for normal riding on the street and then for off-roading when you stand and yeah, handle the bike better. Also the snake here, which kind of prevents any branches from blocking your brake pedal. Footrest is also installed on the left side. Quite an easy install, to be honest, maybe the fastest one from all of those. Now for this side I have two additional things to install. The first one, yeah, a little bit of Aliexpress parts, but this is protection for the sensor here on the kickstand. So this one, you know, not the best one, maybe just, I don't know, $5 or so, $10, but hey, I'll just put it in place. And then the second one, which is more exciting, is another AltRider piece. So this is the Enlarger for the stand. So all of you know, when you stop somewhere in the woods or, you know, just off-roading on the truck, there is loose ground, and if you want to stand the bike you need an Enlarger. That whole surface here is not enough to keep the weight of the bike on loose ground. So this AltRider piece is what I'll be installing here. So, a couple hours in, we already have quite a few things installed. Let's see what is remaining. First of all, handlebar raisers. For this one I decided to go with the Wunderlich. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, but you guys that know how it is properly pronounced, let me know. Anyway, so these are the Wunderlich, and I think the model is ERGO Plus. So they not only raise the handlebar, but also kind of pull it towards you. Okay, so getting ready to mount those. You need to mount them with this side to the left and then that side to the right. This is how you need to mount it up. There is also a small sign here, I'm not sure if you can see it, where you would adjust the handlebar, the degrees in the handlebar. These ones are for T45 head, and then again you need to use 19 Newton meters torque wrench in order to tighten them up. So I'm adjusting handlebar to 10 degrees again, so you have 0 and 10 marks on the handlebar itself. And then you also have the check here on the handlebar razor. So I'll give it a go at 10 degrees. It used to be 10 degrees as well without the razors, and we'll see how it goes. And I can always change it back to 0 if needed. I have 1 hour and a half more. I just finished up installing the handlebar razors. One thing to consider here is you need to use a torque wrench at 19 millimeters and then follow tightening pattern being 1, 2, 3, 4. But there is a quite simple guide provided by Wunderlich, or I'm sure if you use any big brand handlebar razors, they'll come with the same instructions. So that's pretty much it. I left it at 10 degrees. Let's see how comfortable this would be. If not, I can easily change it up. Before I was riding it as well on 10 degrees. So you have the 0 and the 10 degrees marks on the handlebar itself. Good, so up next, I'll be installing the skid plate. So, yes, I will be changing the original one, and what I have selected, if you were guessing AltRider, yes, you guessed right. So again, couple options available there. Quite a lot of the big brands are producing different skid plates. What I specifically liked about AltRider's design is that it doesn't mount to the engine like the standard BMW one and also a couple of the other big brand skid plates, but it actually mounts through some specific add-ons, but it mounts to the crush bars or the roll bars. So we'll see how the mounting goes. I think this will take a little bit more time, but definitely something that I liked. First part, removing the original skid plate from BMW that I have installed on the GS. So we have 5 Torx 50 screws, and let's get them removed. This is how the original plate looks like. Next step would be to mount those additional brackets that you need on each side if you're using the standard BMW crush bars. First, I need to undo those 2 T50 screws, and then basically this bracket will come over here. There is a spring inside, so you need to replace the original one with this one. So now, with both sides done and the central stand pins replaced, we should be able to pass those through here. And basically, yeah, first we need to put some thread lock here as well on both of those. And then see if I can pull up the skid plate and loosely attach those 2 bolts in place. And that's it. Everything is tightened up. think it looks awesome, and it definitely would protect way better than the standard skid plate that I had before. For the Barkbusters, we'll have to install a clamp on each side, the aluminum bar, and then attach the VPS cover in front. But before we do that, we have to disassemble the original BMW handguards. I'll have to loosen up the front brake lever here a little bit, so the clamp would be able to plug in place. Now, something interesting worth mentioning for those additional kind of wind protection adapters on top, you have two mounting positions. So you can either mount them on the bottom hose or you can mount them on the top hose, depending how much wind protection additionally you want. So winter is coming, so I'll be using the top mounts. And this is how it looks. To complete the handlebar section, we have the Doubletake Adventure mirrors. They come with BMW stud base and a ram arm. Time is up. Everything that I had in mind is already on the bike, and I think after all I figured what was missing. It was the tires. Here I have selected the Mitas E07 Plus, a 50/50 tire, ideal for what I plan to do. After those couple hours, I think two things are clear. First, I am definitely ready for a cold beer. And then secondly, the bike is ready for some off-roading. So I think the next couple of days would be very interesting. I'll try to capture and share some of that experience with you guys. If you liked what you saw in this video, leave a thumbs up and also subscribe, so we get to share together some awesome adventures. Thank you, and to the next one. In 5 hours, 5 hours, 7:30 in the morning, 7:30, 5 will be starting the as N that you may selected Romania and two things.
I don't understand.
Tires. I think tire time. And now it's a wrap.